AB is provided by Bay State Noble Hospital, a brand new name for a Westfield institution which is improving the health of our community every day with quality and compassion. Noble Hospital and Bay State Health, better together.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
And good morning, JPEG Luca, JP's Talk About Town. We haven't heard this in a while, so let's run through the whole thing. Good morning. Yes, a little bit of the whole thing. Yes.
A little bit of the whole thing.
Well, actually,
are you awake yet?
It's all of the whole thing.
I'm not even awake, and I knew that was a little bit more than a little bit of the whole thing.
That was the whole song.
It was a little bit more than a little bit of the whole thing.
We don't normally play the whole song, but this morning we wanted to play the whole song. That's A Hunt in the Black Forest by Volker. I did a little bit of research, and I always wanted to say that was what Bob Steele opened his show with for many, many, many years on WTIC in Hartford. But as it turns out, the way we start it isn't the way he started it. He actually started with the Cuckoos.
Okay.
That's how he opened it. The very
Does that mean I have to edit it?
You're going to have to edit it. That very first little violin.
So me being
riff.
sick today, send me an email just to remind me, because I'm not going to remember.
That'll give you something to do.
I have a cold.
Speaking of emails, I just sent you an email, and finally,
I'm converting it. Well,
okay.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. And in that email is a link to something that we're going to get to a little bit later on. But we wanted to talk about some events coming up. And first of all,
tomorrow night, and
tomorrow afternoon, for that matter.
That's true. We have to do 2 shows.
We'll get over it. Is the
I better take my Mucinex and Zicam and everything else.
And you're going to fall asleep up on stage. And the very first ever Silent Disco is coming to Westfield. It's a benefit for the Amelia Park Children's Museum. It's going to be at the Shortstop. There's 2 sessions, one at 1 in the afternoon, and that's kind of focused on families and stuff, and then one at night at 7 o'clock, and that's going to be, more adult-oriented and just a lot of fun. And basically, a silent disco is a whole room full of people dancing, having a great time, singing, lights flashing, and no music playing. How does that work? Well, all of those people have headphones on. And what's kind of cool is if you don't like what's playing, you got a choice of 2 other soundtracks that are running in the room at the same time. All you got to do is push a button on those headphones and you switch to the next soundtrack. So there's going to be 3 live DJs playing all kinds of songs. There's kind of 3 rough categories.
60s, 70s disco.
No,
Kenny.
60s, 70s, and
disco.
rock.
No.
And country.
No. 60s, 70s, and disco is just Kenny.
Stop arguing with
I'm
me.
80s, 90s today, pop.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me what I am.
You are country and disco. Or country and rock and roll.
I thought it was country and western.
No.
Both kinds.
Bob calls it western all the time.
Country.
It hasn't been in western since like the late 70s.
No, it hasn't been and westerns since the Blues Brothers movie. Yes, we play both kinds, country and western. So
sure.
Yeah. Come on, you had to watch the movie.
I've seen the movie.
Oh, okay.
I agree with you. I'm just deadpanning you just to deadpan you.
All right. But it'll be like modern country. But things to dance to is going to be a lot of fun. And I've seen videos of this, and there's things where the room full of people is singing. They're all singing whatever they're listening to, and if they all happen to be on the same channel, you hear like they're all singing "Don't Stop Believing." And
I was going to say, wait till I play Journey.
Yeah, then somebody will walk in the room and go, "What are they doing?" And they don't realize they all have headphones on. But it's a hoot. This is going to be a lot of fun. So that's at the Shortstop on Saturday night, Saturday afternoon for families, Saturday night, and it'll all be a benefit for the Amelia Park Children's Museum. Great stuff. Now, if you want to do other things, if you're just looking for food, goodies, and and crafts and things like that, there's going to be the last farmers market is going to be over on Court Street in front of the Church of inside the Church of the Atonement. It's where the summer market is. But they're also going to be doing this inside because it's, warmer inside. It's the winter market. But it's the winter version of their summer market. It's the last one they're having until May. So that'll be starting up again in May on Thursdays. But this should be a lot of fun. We hope to see you at one of those this weekend. Then, coming up a little bit further down the road, in the end of March, we're just putting the final touches on the plans for another live radio play. This one is actually a set of 3 radio plays, short plays, that were written by WSKB's own Michael Buster McMahon. So it should be a lot of fun. I don't know a lot of details on those yet, but we'll give you a little bit of a teaser. What we're going to do is 2 things. We're going to run The one we did, was it last year we did that or the year before?
Year before.
Year before.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And the title of that one was
Death Literally.
And that was all presented by Michael Buster, or JP's Golden Age of Radio helped put it together. But Michael Buster McMahon's not even close to being ready for primetime players. We're all up on stage doing this live radio presentation. We're going to do it again with 3 new titles, and it should be a lot of fun. We're going to do this at the Dower Center.
So what he said is he's got a 30, a 15, and a 15-minute play.
Yep. And it's going to be at the Dower Center.
Yeah.
It's all going to be presented just as if you were back in the 40s walking into a live radio presentation that was, at that time, going out live on the radio. We're going to record this, and we're going to play it back in the at a later date here on one of my morning shows.
On a morning where you're somewhere else.
Well, yes, that would be a good thing.
Yes.
But even though I'm here in the studio, we're going to do a rerun of the play we did 2 years ago, and that was Death, Literally.
Yes.
Done in front of a live studio audience here at Western State University. And one of the fun things about this is the jazz band here, led by Professor Ed Orgill, is part of this, and proceeds from these presentations all go to the jazz band. It helps them pay for things they might not otherwise be able to buy for their programs here, the music programs here at Westfield State. So it's kind of a cool thing.
In our second hour, we can run the first edition matter.
And
that's in my laptop too.
And that was
George Delisle and his crew, a whole different cast.
Yep.
Well, except for like you, me, and Kenny.
Yeah. Well, we're
like the utility players.
We were cast in a different role.
Yes.
Actually, they threw away the cast. Oh wait, no, that's a whole different bad joke.
Yes, it is.
We won't go there.
Yes. So each of them runs about 45 minutes. So we have both of them queued up and ready to go.
Well, this should be a good time. So stay tuned for a little bit of fun. All coming up right after our break. This is J. Pagluca, JP's Golden Age of Radio. Straight ahead, we'll be back right after this.
Underwriting is brought to you by Boise Cascade Distribution, providing products and services needed for building material dealers, home improvement centers, and industrial customers. They offer everything from engineered wood and plywood to Drex decking and railing, James Hardie siding, and Advantech subfloor. Located at 33 Fowler Street Extension in Westfield and on the web at bc.com, they are committed to providing quality products, great service, convenience, and value.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
This is J. Pagluca. JP's Golden Age of Radio is coming up. We're going to be playing a replay of the play. Sure. Yeah, it's early in the morning on a Friday. Give me a break.
Quickly, though, we got time constraints here.
When did that start?
It's 49 minutes. We're already at 15.
All right. Well, we're going to make this work. So this is brought to you by the Blitz Brewery Playhouse Theater on the Carpathian Radio Network. Brought to your... I need to practice this.
You do.
All right, tell you what, we'll do this on the other side of the break, of the other side of the thing, of the other side of the... This is JP's Golden Age of Radio.
We're now about to go live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
From the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Hello, everyone. This is Jay Pagluca. Welcome to a very special edition of JP's Golden Age of Radio. We're coming to you live from the stage of the Catherine Dower Performing and Fine Arts Center at Westfield State University. And we're here in front of a live studio audience, just like a radio show from the 1940s would have been recorded or even broadcast live. We're honored to be joined on stage by the Westfield State University's Jazz Big Band, led by Dr. Ed Orgill. Today, we present two short mysteries. The first, Death, Literally. Written and directed by Westfield State alum Michael Buster McMahon. The second is an episode of one of the longest-running radio dramas on the air, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, featuring George Delisle in the title role. Before we get started, let's warm up with a tune from our studio band. Thank you very much for our studio band. We're very lucky to have these folks out here. And if you think about it, back in the day, that's where the music came from old time radio. It was an in-studio band. We're lucky to have them here tonight. Now, our first title, Death, Literally. We take you to the home of David McMahon, author of the popular Michael Bloodsweat detective books. He's fallen asleep, fully dressed in his easy chair after a busy night of writing his new novel. An attractive woman has entered his study to awaken him.
David, wake up.
What the?
Are you awake?
I think. Wait, who are you? What are you doing here?
You know who I am.
No, I don't. What are you doing here?
You know me.
One brandy last night. I couldn't possibly have gotten drunk and brought home a call girl. Ow!
I'm no call girl. Look at me.
Miss, I swear to you, I don't know who you are.
Look, curly hair, cute smile, infectious laugh, attitude that most men can't handle, and I quote, she could light up a room with a glance so smooth you could cradle your desire.
Cassandra?
Of course.
Now I know I'm drunk.
You don't believe me?
You don't exist. I just created you last week in my new novel.
You wrote the character with so much depth, strength, and meaning, I have personified myself.
Well, you're supposed to be just stubborn enough to do it.
It's not so weird. Arthur Conan Doyle used to play chess with his creation, Sherlock Holmes, all the time. Mark Twain took Tom Sawyer on vacation once, and Shakespeare...
I get it. Okay, this is the weirdest dream I've ever had.
I'm here because I need your help.
My help?
Somebody kills me.
Yes, Cassandra, I killed you. I'm a murder mystery writer. I create a lead character, and then they die. That's your job.
I don't want to die. Look, I'm easily the most complex and sensible character you've ever created. There's no reason why I can't be the one who solves the crime.
Yes, there is. You're a character in my Michael Bloodsweat series. He solves the crime.
He's so shallow and predictable.
Sorry.
Just tell me who kills me.
I don't know yet. I've only finished the first few chapters.
Yes, and I died in the last one.
Yes, I'm sorry, but I think it's a clever way that you do.
Poisoning?
You'd rather be hit by a car?
Look, if you can tell me who kills me, I can go back a few chapters and prevent him or her from doing so.
Well, if you can go back a few chapters, just go to chapter 3 where you go to the dinner party and don't eat.
That doesn't solve who wants to kill me. So they'll just try in a later chapter. Why do they want to kill me?
Everybody there has a motive. That keeps the audience guessing.
It's got to be the cook.
The cook?
I was poisoned, remember?
Well, yes, but that's a little obvious, don't you think?
It's Occam's razor.
What?
The simplest explanation is the most often the correct one. Wow, how is it that I'm smarter than you?
I gave you a college degree.
Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So you will help me, no?
No.
No?
No, Cassandra, I can't help you. I'm sorry. You have to be killed. Nobody's going to read a Michael Bloodsweat story where there's no murder.
You won't help me. I'll have to figure it out for myself.
You are the most stubborn woman I have ever created, not to mention one who is breaking all the rules.
What rules?
1, not accepting your role in the story. 2, arguing with your creator. And 3, the most important rule for any character, not staying in the book.
Well, if you won't help me, I'll get these people in the audience to help me.
And now we've got number 4, breaking the 4th wall. You are unbelievable.
I need their help because you won't help me. You're gonna let me die.
All right.
You won't kill me?
No, I didn't say that. But maybe we can help each other out. I'm just as curious as you who the killer is. Maybe by sorting this out together, the most logical candidate will shake out.
You get your ending, and I find my killer.
Exactly.
That's a win-win.
Yeah, it's not exactly Oscar, Madison, Shaver, whatever, but it's still damn good.
Language.
Sorry, I forgot I gave you a prudish side. Oh, great, a visitor. Will they be able to see you?
This one can. Come in.
Good day, sir and madam.
Bigglesworth?
Yes, sir, at your service.
Oh, my God.
I brought him here. He's still my top choice.
You just don't know anything about writing.
And you do? You named the cook Bigglesworth.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many published novels do you have? Is it more than the 23 that I do?
You wrote he admired me from afar. Bigglesworth, do you find me attractive?
You're an attractive lady, madam. And may you not remember this, but when you first arrived in town, I offered to show you around. You led me to believe that you would take me up on such an offer, but alas, you never did.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lead you on.
Well, you did. My shattered confidence may be a bit of a recluse. My only outlet now is my cooking.
Suspicious.
Look, I want to get back to sleep sooner than later.
You even speak in cliches.
Wow. With that charm, it's surprising so many people want to kill you, isn't it? What I want to do is bring everybody in here and reveal all of the motives for wanting you dead.
You can do that?
If you can, I can. I'm the creator, remember?
Wow. You did it.
I'm taking charge of this brandy-induced dream.
Wait, where's Blood Sweat?
I'll play that part.
Blood Sweat is written as your alter ego?
What's wrong with that?
It's just not overly surprising.
Let's get this moving before sunrise, please. Our host for the evening, one Jonathan Devane. Jonathan, introduce yourself to all.
Mr. Jonathan Devane. I make a decent living as owner of the local theater group here.
Scratch that, Jonathan. On second thought, let's make it a radio station. Everybody knows you can't make a living in theater anymore.
Okay. Owner of a radio station. I met Cassandra Lepre 5 years ago when she was our news anchor briefly. Unfortunately, we had a short, torrid affair. Nobody knows about it, of course, and if I ever get out, I could lose my family and probably the public outcry would force me to close the station. I would do anything to keep this a secret.
Then why would you invite her to your party?
Ooh, good question, Blood Sweat.
I didn't. I invited my friend Andrew to the dinner. I suggested he could bring a guest. I didn't know he even knew Cassandra.
Probably as good a time as any to introduce Dr. Andrew Reza to everybody.
Yes, I am a doctor. I met Cassandra when she came to me as a patient and fell for her personality, hair, smile. Just the way she could light up a room with a glance so smooth.
Okay, yeah, we've heard that already.
I could stand to hear it again.
Anyway, I have never been lacking in self-confidence since I came to this country. But lately I get the feeling that she would never take me seriously enough. I am afraid that maybe I am about to fall in love with someone whose dreams and aspirations will take her far away. If she ever did leave, I don't know what I would be capable of doing. Oh, that did not go too well, did it?
Not very. Who else we got?
Hello.
Mrs. Jessica Devane.
My husband isn't aware that anyone knew of his affair. You know, we met in journalism class in college, and I can add facts up as well as anyone. Plus, wives always know. When she had the audacity to walk into my home, I could feel my very blood boil. Oh, I'm not capable of murder, but if I did kill her, would you blame me?
I don't like her.
She sounds like a big fan of you.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm Dr. Frederick Cabell.
Cowbell?
Cabell.
I don't even know you, do I?
No, that's why I think it's safe to say that we can skip me.
Why is that?
Well, I just met Cassandra this evening, and I would have no motive to do her in.
Oh, geez, it's him, isn't it?
No, I don't know. I've only written 4 chapters.
It wouldn't make sense to have me be the murderer, would it?
Well, he's not that great a writer, so...
I don't know if he does it or not.
Relax, Cowbell. You're probably here just to fill the table.
That's Cabell.
Anybody else?
Hello?
You must be sweet old Mrs. Cockenlocker.
Blessed bowls of soup. Where did you come up with a name like that?
I lifted it from a Betty Hutton movie, if you must know.
You're a hack.
Bitch.
Language.
Mrs. Cockenlocker.
I'm a neighbor of Miss LaPree's, and I've seen her walking about with her head up high and her knockers pointing out.
Mrs. Cockenlocker.
Well, in my day, we didn't prance around in public like that. If you must know, we would invite a fella over to listen to a radio program and then pretend that we were running late and answer the door wearing nothing but a towel. Call me old-fashioned, but we had a sense of what was right back then. Well, I grew tired of watching this tart run around town. Sure, she's well educated and is probably leaving our town for bigger and better things. And sometimes I think, wouldn't it be funny to watch her humbled? Oh, not in just a oops, I tripped up the stairs, but in sort of a cold, blue, poison sort of way. Now, I'm just an old-fashioned lady from another generation, but I know what's right, thank you.
Oh my, I created a monster, didn't I?
She's the murderer?
I don't know. Cassandra, you've given me writer's block.
Well, this is some town you got here, David. I think we should open this up to some more questions from the great Michael Bloodsweat.
Okay, characters. This is how it's going to work. You stand here, and I expect honest answers.
Oh, can I ask a question?
I prefer that you didn't.
What did the toxicology report read?
Oh, I don't know. We'll say hemlock.
Hemlock? What is this, 400 BC?
What?
Yeah, Socrates, hemlock.
Arsenic?
Better.
Fine. You died from arsenic. I just had a great idea. This would go faster without your interruptions. We're at the part where you die.
So?
I want you motionless and, most importantly, silent in your chair where you die.
Creepy. But do I have to?
No murder, no murderer.
Fine.
Bit dramatic, but effective. For our purposes. Mr. Devane, do you own any other business ventures in town?
Well, are you sure she's finished?
Oh, she's finished, all right.
Yes.
Your other business ventures?
Yes, I own a gas station and a small trucking company.
What sort of cargo does this trucking company carry?
Well, we work pretty much exclusively for the Carpathian Mining Company up north.
Mr. Reza?
Dr. Reza, please.
Oh, sorry. As a doctor, don't you have access to different chemical compounds?
I write prescriptions for such things. There's really nothing in my office stronger than rubbing alcohol, though.
Mrs. Devane, any hobbies?
Well, I like my gardening. Sure, I listen to the Johnny Dollar radio show, but I spend most of the day gardening and throwing dinner parties.
You ever cook for these parties?
No, but I enjoy setting the table. We're very particular that the table be set properly.
We're?
Yes. Bigglesworth cooks the meal, my husband picks the wine, and I set the dishes, glasses, and place cards.
Place cards?
Try to do that boy-girl tradition if possible. There are two things that are important: family and proper manners.
Amen, sister.
You've got to preserve your family, and you must display proper manners.
If family doesn't stick together, then the hippies win.
Mrs. Cockenlocker, you are a fascinating lady.
Why, thank you.
Were you ever employed?
Oh, of course. I worked at a cosmetics counter for nearly 30 years.
Interesting. Very interesting. Isn't arsenic a common ingredient in certain cosmetics?
Not since the 1700s it hasn't. One would have to have access to certain pesticides, leukemia medicines, or certain brands of car batteries to get easy access to arsenic.
Okay, pesticides, prescription medicines, car batteries?
That's right.
You might not have easy access, but you do seem very knowledgeable of it.
I'm very well read.
Mr. Devane, to the best of your knowledge, did anyone besides you know about your affair with Miss Dupree?
Honestly, I believe Andrew knew.
What led you to believe that?
He dropped a subtle hint.
Subtle?
Well, he said if I didn't sell him the radio station, he would make my affair to Cassandra public. That's subtle.
Subtle hint. I'm surprised you caught it, Doctor. I'm sorry. Doctor, is any of this true?
It is true. Jonathan rejected the Dr. Andrew Reza Colin Hell show several times. With my knowledge and my cute foreign accent, I know it would be a hit and would eventually make me a syndicated star. With such a show, I'm sure I could keep Cassandra by making her my co-host. He repeatedly spurned my offers, so buying the station myself was the only way to make it work. I betrayed a secret my love told me and used it against my friend. But other than that, I don't think I did anything wrong.
Cabell, you have to play a part in this somehow.
I have no motive, desire, to benefit from this woman's death.
What's your occupation?
Presently, unemployed.
You're poor.
I've earned my money the really old-fashioned way. I inherited it.
And how do you know the Devanes?
I play golf with Mrs. Devane's brother.
What does he do?
He plays golf. Oh, he's general manager of a bank.
And why are you unemployed?
I am bound to honesty.
Yes.
Well, I have trouble keeping jobs because I have a sudden temper. I've hit co-workers, I've threatened bosses, and I swear at customers if their stupidity frustrates me. I have no place in the world outside the golf course.
Yeah, no frustration in that game. So you would be available if someone did want to hire you?
Of course.
And Bigglesworth.
Yes, sir.
How difficult would it be for you to put arsenic in Cassandra's food?
1 in 6.
I beg your pardon?
If I wanted to kill someone by poisoning their food, there would be only 1 in 6 chance of me successfully hitting my target. I would have to poison the whole batch if I wanted to be sure and live with the fact that 5 others were collateral damage.
Is there anyone here you would want dead?
Again, 1 in 6 chance of me hitting the right person.
Mr. Devane, you served the wine?
Yes, sir.
What kind?
It was passion fruit.
Unusual choice.
Perhaps, but very tasty.
Do you pour the wine at dinner or before your guests arrive?
During dinner, of course. I choose a few bottles before they arrive, open it, and let it breathe a bit, and then I pour it while they're seating.
One more question, Mr. Devane. Where do you keep your wine?
The wine cellar, of course.
Locked?
No need for that.
So anyone could have access to the wine cellar?
I suppose, yes.
Mrs. Cockenlocker, you said watching Miss Dupree made you uncomfortable?
She's a tart.
Did she and the doctor carry on at all during dinner?
They let it be known that they were together, if that's what you meant. He pulled out her chair, played with her hair. She drank from his wine glass, and he was spoon-fed by her from her plate.
And that bothered you?
Carrying on like that? It's inappropriate.
Mrs. Devane, you said earlier that you were a good journalism student.
Finest in my class.
Why did you give it up?
I married and was happy to become a housewife and mother to our 2 children.
And you knew about the affair?
Yes, I've already told you that.
Did you know Dr. Reza was trying to blackmail your husband?
I've caught wind of it.
Really? How?
I will not reveal my source.
You are bound by the rules to answer, and you're not a reporter.
Reza.
Dr. Reza?
During my last visit to his office, he said he would hopefully be giving up his practice soon to do his radio show. Well, I said he was delusional. That was never going to happen. He said, "Oh, I think your husband will come around soon enough." At the time, I laughed it off.
But not so funny when he showed up with Cassandra at the party.
A thoroughly bad display of manners on his part.
Do you have any access to the food or wine before or during the dinner?
As I've stated, no. I only set the table, and if I may say, I'm not sad that she's dead, but her death doesn't exactly help my family's situation, does it?
No. You have a dead dinner guest.
Besides that, the doctor's extortion is still a threat.
That it is, Mrs. Devane, that it is. Bigglesworth, what was the meal served?
Duck.
An odd pairing with fruit wine? Wouldn't a Cabernet be more appropriate?
A lot of those rules have gone the way of the 40-cent eclair.
You don't seem overly sad about the death of Cassandra.
I'm very sad. People grieve differently.
Indeed they do. Did you still have a crush on her?
I know she does not notice me, as I stated earlier. I turned my attention to my cooking. I was hoping that eventually it might win her over. I've often fantasized about her luscious lips on my duck.
I'm going to stop you right there to ensure our PG-13 rating. Did this obsession ever cause you to fantasize about hurting Miss Dupree?
It was not an obsession. I would never have hurt her. And if I killed her now, how could I ever hope to have her?
I have 2 final questions for Mrs. Cockenlocker.
Yes.
How do you fit into this group? Why were you invited tonight?
Jessica Devane is my goddaughter. Her mother and I were very dear friends working at the department store. When she passed, I looked in on her. I love her as if she were my own daughter.
Who was the first to arrive at the party?
I was, as usual. Then Cabell, Cassandra, and the doctor were about 10 minutes late.
Cassandra, wake up. I think we have your murderer. If we can all gather round, I believe we can end this right here.
So the murderer is one of us?
Of course. Have you never read a murder mystery book before?
Andrew, please tell me it wasn't you.
It wasn't.
Andrew, hold me.
Is that necessary?
I'm scared.
Oh, here we go again. Can't she be still again before they start drinking out of each other's coffee?
Actually, Cassandra, if Andrew did kill you, he might not even be aware of it yet.
What?
Impossible. I know my every action of the evening.
You only think you do because only the first few chapters are actually written.
You mean the killer here might not be aware that they are the killer here?
In a murder mystery, the murderer is revealed in the last chapter, and that hasn't been written yet.
Oh, he's just making this up as he goes along.
I don't understand. If Cassandra is standing there alive, then no crime has been committed.
You are all pieces in Cassandra's game, and mine. Nothing has changed, I assure you. You see her walking and talking, but she is still dead in the unfinished book.
So it's true. It has to be one of us. I can't bear to think one of my guests would be capable of such a feat.
Have any of you figured out who my murderer is?
Oh, stop breaking the fourth wall, Cassandra. You've caused enough trouble.
Please, David, it can't be Andrew.
You'd rather it be Jonathan?
I love Cassandra. I could never hurt her, consciously or unconsciously. I'm telling you, it is not possible.
You killed my Cassandra, you son of a...
Andrew, where'd you get that gun?
Stand back, all of you.
He's the killer.
Now, where did you get that gun? I didn't write that.
I brought it as insurance. I knew you Americans would try to blame me, make me the fall guy. So I guess I did it. How do you like that? Nobody come any closer, or I swear I'll shoot cock and locker.
Hey!
Go right ahead.
Relax, everybody. Andrew, you are not the killer. In fact, you are incapable of killing.
I am?
You were created to put people together, not blow them apart. But if you don't believe me, go ahead. Pull the trigger.
No.
Aim it at me.
But you're our creator.
Then do as I say. Fire.
It's empty. I am not a killer.
No, but you might have some explaining to do to Mrs. Cockenlocker.
Blasted hippie!
Oh, thank God.
Andrew, being the killer, would be a decent ending. He could have poisoned her food as he sat next to her.
Occam's razor.
You too, huh?
If we're going to start eliminating people, can we just do my character next?
We're not necessarily eliminating people. I'm just thinking out loud.
Oh, why continue to torture us? It's so obvious it's me. I think we can put this to an end right now. It's me.
No.
Jessica, I love you, but there's something you need to know about Cassandra and me.
No, don't say it.
You already know?
I already know.
You do, huh? Okay.
Please, I'm not stupid.
I can't believe it.
Jonathan, why?
You shut your mouth. You've done quite enough already. It's not enough you almost broke up our marriage. Now he's going to jail.
Hey, I didn't ask to be poisoned.
Jonathan, why did you do it?
Well, obviously, the thought of her with Andrew, a man who would blackmail a friend, was too much for me. My God, what have I done?
No, dear Jonathan.
How did you pull it off?
How did I pull what off?
Yes, I'd love to hear the details. The story is about the details.
I must have poisoned her wine.
But you don't know, do you?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, but then you said I might not be aware.
You're not aware, Jonathan, because you didn't do it either.
What?
Oh, come on. It makes a pretty good ending to me. He had access to the wine and he owns the mining company.
Trucking company for a mining company.
An industry that would have access to arsenic.
Mrs. Cockenlocker, you'd be glad to know I now know how the story ends.
You do? Well, I still say it can't be me. I have neither motive nor access to the food.
But your financial troubles are more than you've let on.
I'll get by. I always do.
Sure. Because you're always available for any job.
Well, yes.
Any time.
Yes.
Isn't that right?
I mean, no.
Relax, Cabell. In fact, we should all relax. I know. Mrs. Devane. Mr. Devane.
Yes?
Why don't we pour everyone a nice glass of passion fruit wine?
I'll get the glasses.
No need, Mrs. Devane. We can use the glasses from dinner.
But they're dirty.
Oh, this'll be fun. I took the glasses from the dining room table.
But how will we know whose glass is whose?
So we share a few germs among friends. Jonathan, the wine? I propose a toast in honor of our deceased literary character, Cassandra Grace LePree. Her curly hair, her cute smile, infectious laugh, attitude that most men couldn't handle, and, if I may quote chapter 1, She could light up a room with a glance so smooth you could cradle your desire. To Cassandra, rest in peace.
Cassandra!
Cassandra!
No!
Ta-da! I present to you your murderer, Mrs. Jessica Devane.
It was the wine.
No, Bigglesworth, it was not the wine that killed her.
I don't get it.
At dinner, everybody drank from the same bottle of wine.
But they didn't drink from the same glass.
Correct.
The poison was in her glass before the wine was poured?
By the one who set the table.
And who had plenty of pesticide in her private garden.
Interesting.
Not too bad for a hack writer like myself.
But having it to be Mrs. Devane isn't overly clever.
Why not?
She's the one here who would have the most reason to hate me.
True.
Jessica, you?
I figured it was her.
So I was just a plot distraction after all.
Actually, Cassandra, your death was just a very nice consolation prize for Mrs. Devane, her husband's ex-mistress. Isn't that right, Jessica?
I'm not talking.
What do you mean?
Yes, David. How am I a consolation prize?
The place cards were very specific, set in front of the diningware glass and diningware by Jessica.
Yes, go on.
She could not have foreseen that the good doctor and Cassandra had gotten to be overly cutesy, carrying on the way they did at dinner. Isn't that right, Mrs. Cockenlocker?
It was vastly inappropriate.
Sure, Cassandra had embarrassed her years ago, but the real threat of humiliation was that knowledge becoming public, a threat that would disappear if Dr. Reza simply drank from his own glass.
What? Jessica!
She wasn't supposed to die?
No, she was not.
And I was just an innocent bystander.
Well, hardly innocent.
Fair point.
So what happens now?
As Michael Bloodsweat, I call the police and they take Mrs. Devane to jail.
What do I do?
Be grateful you're an over-affectionate in public. Learn not to extort people. And most importantly, never forget her. Your fears of her leaving you for bigger, better things are no longer founded.
I really did love her.
I know. Trust me, Doctor. You will love again.
Goodbye, Andrew.
Goodbye, my love. Thank you, David.
Don't suppose it would do any good to confess to the crime myself?
I expected nothing less from you to protect your wife. That's why you've already confessed once. I'm sorry this isn't a very happy ending for you.
That's a murder mystery book. It was unavoidable.
How you doing, big guy?
I think I need to get out of the kitchen more and meet less complicated women.
Good idea, if such a thing even exists.
I don't suppose anyone would notice if I left.
Probably not.
Do me a favor. If you sell the rights and make a play out of this, please make sure someone with less gray hair plays me.
Sorry, casting decisions won't be my call.
Oh, dear.
And what did you get out of this?
Well, as Bloodsweat, I solved the case. And as David McMahon, I got the ending to my book.
I hope it was worth it. My goddaughter deserves a medal for what she did, not a jail sentence.
Yeah, she's very smart. She killed the wrong person.
I'll see you in hell, Mr. Bloodsweat.
So you had to make it me. What did I ever do to you?
Jessica, you're a grand creation, and for your role in this, I truly apologize. I really do believe you were just trying to protect your family.
Huh. The little tart was right. You are a lousy writer.
Well, this was the most difficult book I ever wrote.
Was it?
I think it took a full year off my life.
I feel for you. You want to trade?
Well, now, don't tell me you're going to be bitter, too.
Well, you got what you wanted. You got your ending. You didn't deliver me my end.
You wanted to know who killed you. I delivered.
Oh, say I'm still dead.
Miss Dupree, a very wise, attractive, pain in the ass.
Language.
Oh, yeah, sorry. A very wise, attractive pain in the neck once said to me recently that you are easily the most complex and sensible character I've ever created.
So?
So, may I interest you in a prequel?
We'll take a very brief intermission, but first, Dr. Orgill and the Westfield State University.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Noble Hospital, a brand new name for a Westfield institution which is improving the health of our community every day with quality and compassion. Noble Hospital and Bay State Health, better together.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
And this is JPEG Luca with JP's Talk About Town. We hope you enjoyed part one of JP's Golden Age of Radio, a replay of something that we did live here on the campus a couple of years ago on a little stage over at the Dower Center. So a lot of fun. We're going to be doing another one at the end of March. Stay tuned. More to come on that. March, what was the date? March 29th.
The end of the month.
Yeah, Friday, March 29th, last Friday of the month. More to come on that. And again, it's going to be another play written by our very own Michael Buster McMahon. Tomorrow, we're going to be celebrating the last. Celebrating? We're going to be celebrating. Well, yeah, it's kind of a little celebration. The last farmers market for the winter is happening at the Church of the Atonement indoors to keep us warm and out of the weather.
Yep.
And that's happening from 10 till 3, I believe. And that's the last farmers market. Lots of gifts and food, and probably even find a Valentine's Day gift or two over there. And the regular farmers market will be starting up on Thursdays in May. Stay tuned for that. Now, tomorrow afternoon and evening, we have our very first silent disco happening in Westfield. That's going to be just a lot of fun. 3 live DJs, myself, and I'll be joined by Mr. Pete Coles and Mr. Kenny Stomsky. They'll have 3 live DJs spinning music that you won't be able to hear unless you have the special headphones. So that'll be a lot of fun. Find out more. You can get tickets in advance at eventbrite.com. You go right out to Eventbrite. You can get tickets there.
We might actually hear this.
Pete Coles!
Yeah, I'm going to work on some drops and things like that.
You're going to just blow us all away. You're going to do your best, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to try.
We'll see how it goes. We'll listen.
Try. It's a competition, you know.
Those 3 DJs that will be there will have we'll be kind of competing against each other to keep your interest. But you'll have headphones on where you can choose from one of 3 programs. You don't like what you're hearing? Check the next program.
Swap over to the other channel.
Now, you want to know what everyone around you is listening to? Well, it's cool because the headphones will have colors on them, red, blue, or green LEDs that will light up depending on which channel you're choosing. So you'll know who the people around you are listening to. That'll be kind of fun. That's happening at 1 and 7 over at the Shortstop down by Walmart on Route 20. It's all to benefit the Children's Museum, the Amelia Park Children's Museum here in Westfield.
And then in April, you got a gig coming up over at Westfield Technical Academy, no?
That's a benefit for the Westfield Police Auxiliary. These are the guys that enable us to do all of the great things we do outside, all the concerts, all of the events, Pumpkin Fest, all the stuff that we do around the city. You see those guys in the green vests around, and they're awesome. Most of them are volunteers, if not all of them, and we want to help send a little bit of cash their way because they have to buy all of their own gear, and we want to help underwrite some of that stuff. That's going to be a benefit that we're doing. You can come out and see a great concert with the Chicago Total Access Band. This is a Chicago tribute band. If you like the sounds of the 70s and Chicago, you'll be blown away by these guys. That is Friday, April 12th at the Westfield Technical Academy. Up next on JP's Golden Age of Radio, we have another part that we did during that. What was the that was George Delisle.
Yes.
And what was the name of the play?
The First Edition Matter.
That was yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Correct.
Which was a classic radio show through the 40s and 50s. That was one of the longest running radio shows that ran during that golden age of radio time.
Yep.
A lot of fun. So before we get into that, we're going to practice something here that we're probably going to run when we do this end of March show, because it's the Blitz Brewery Playhouse Theater on the Carpathian Radio Network. Brought to you by your friends at Blitz Brewery, makers of Blitz, Blitz Light, Blitz Dark, Blitz Ice, Blitz Ice Light, Blitz Ice Dark Light, Blitz Classic Ice Dark, Blitz Dry Light, Blitz Dry Dark Llama Rama Ding Dong, Blitz Dry Ice Classic Dark Light, and their newest creation, Blitz with Pumpkin Spice.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. Ken's Den, Tuesday, 8 to 10.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome us back to the stage, the Westfield State University Jazz Big Band. Not bad for a little old studio band put together just a few weeks ago, eh? Our second half of the show is about to start. From Westfield State University, live.
Johnny Dollar.
Hi, Johnny. Glad I caught you in. It's Pat McCracken, Universal Adjustment Bureau. I need...
Sorry, Patsy. Save your breath. I've got a date with a trout.
Oh, but Johnny...
No buts. The cabin's already rented. The guide is booked. Paid in advance. I was halfway out the door when the phone rang. I knew I should have kept on going.
Oh, come on, Johnny. It's only a fish.
Oh, Patsy.
Could I possibly interest you in a nice king salmon instead?
Well, now, that's a fish of a different color. Okay, I'm not hanging up.
From what I hear, they grow them pretty big in Seattle. As long as you're going to be out there anyway, I could stake you to a day or two of salmon fishing.
I have the cabin booked for a week.
Johnny!
Refresh my memory, Patsy. Did I just call you?
All right. A week then. If you can sort this mess out, you'll deserve it.
Dust off your checkbook and get out your pen. I'll be right over.
Live from the Catherine Gower Performing Fine Arts Center, WSKB and JP's Golden Age of Radio present the not even close to being ready for primetime players in an original production featuring America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, the man with the action-packed expense account.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. To Pat McCracken, Universal Adjustment Bureau, from Special Investigator Johnny Dollar. The following is an account of expenses in connection with my investigation of the first edition matter. Expense account item number 1, $1.25 cab fare to your office.
Come on in, Johnny.
Well, Pat, what is it you've got for me that rates an all expenses paid fishing trip to the great American Northwest?
A 1 million headache is what I've got.
Ouch.
Ouch indeed. You've heard of J. Preston Walker?
J. Preston Walker? Yeah, magazine publisher, world traveler, multi-millionaire.
And collector.
Collector?
Arts, coins, stamps, antiquities, you name it. I happen to know he has a dinosaur skeleton on display in his foyer.
A dinosaur?
Yep, a Tyrannosaurus to be exact. And now he's about to collect on a $1 million claim from Allied Indemnity.
That's a headache, all right. What's the claim for?
A book. Walker also collects rare books and manuscripts. And one of his prize holdings turned up missing last week, and Allied is on the hook for the loss.
That's a big hook.
Very. What's worse, the policy had only been issued a little over a month before the heist. If Allied didn't already insure a few hundred other items in the collection, I'd suspect J. Preston Walker himself. So far, the police have come up empty-handed. You're experienced with these kind of things, so Allied wants you to go out there and see if you can turn up something they might have overlooked.
Oh, I'm sure the Seattle PD will appreciate the help.
Well, that's why Allied asked for you personally, Johnny, because you're so subtle.
Expense account item 2, $87.50, airfare to Seattle. I arrived at Boeing Field late in the day, but took a chance and called Preston Walker on the telephone. He agreed to see me that evening at his home. I rented a car and checked into a hotel. I just had time for a quick bite before driving out to the Walker estate. It was a huge mansion on top of a hill. The double doors were 11 feet high, ornately carved mahogany. They were opened by a picture-perfect butler right out of Central Casting.
Yes?
I'm Johnny Dollar, here to see...
Yes, of course, sir. Come right this way, Mr. Dollar. Mr. Walker is expecting you.
You were right, Patsy. Right there in the foyer stood a 23-foot-tall Tyrannosaurus Rex. The floor was Italian marble. So was the staircase to the second floor. The walls were covered with paintings by the Dutch masters, and there was a houseplant potted in what I'd give odds was a Ming Dynasty vase.
Mr. Dollar is here, sir.
Well, show him in.
Walker was a big man whose presence dominated the spacious room. He was seated in a leather chair with an oversized brandy in one hand and a cigar to match in the other.
Sit down, Mr. Dollar, sit down. Sarah, make yourself useful for a change and get Mr. Dollar a drink.
Sarah, Mrs. Walker, was a petite redhead with big brown eyes. She looked like she belonged on a magazine cover. She smelled good, too.
What can I get you, Mr. Dollar?
Scotch. Neat. Thanks.
Oh, good choice.
So, Mr. Dollar, you're with Allied Indemnity? I don't suppose you've brought me a check.
No, sir, I'm not an adjuster.
I figured as much. Hotshot lawyer sent to find some way to weasel out of paying off, then, I suppose.
No, sir, I'm an investigator.
Investigator? What use do I have for an investigator now? Those Keystone cops who pass for our police department have been on the case for over a week with nothing to show for it. If you ask me, my Gutenberg is long gone. Probably already out of the country by now.
Gutenberg?
Bible, Mr. Dollar. The volume was a first edition Gutenberg, printed in 1455. One of only a handful that are complete and intact.
My assistant, Carl Ludlow.
Mr. Ludlow.
It was magnificent, hand-illuminated, gold-leaf, the centerpiece of Mr. Walker's rare book collection. No amount of money can ever compensate for its loss. Such a tragedy.
Bah! Stop whining, Carl. It was a book. A rare one, to be sure. That's why I owned it, but it's just a book.
If it was just a book, why did you buy it in the first place?
I'm a collector, Mr. Dollar. I collect rarities, works of art, books, antiquities. There's nothing to compare with the feeling knowing you possess something unique and beautiful that no one else can have. Once I decide a piece belongs in my collection, the price is immaterial.
That must cost a lot of money.
Yes, but I have a philosophy. Nothing is too good for those of us who can afford it.
Or too rare.
Indeed, but the Gutenberg isn't all that rare. Not one of a kind. I can buy another.
With $1 million of Allied's money, you probably can, but if it's all the same to you, my employer would prefer to hang on to the $1 million. And if we can recover the Bible, they can.
I suggest that you talk to the police then, Mr. Dollar, and good luck to you.
I plan to do just that first thing tomorrow morning.
Talk to the detective on the case. He's a real Menson. Ludlow, what was his name?
Next morning, bright and early, I went down to police headquarters, where I met a lieutenant named Dolan, in charge of the Detective Bureau. As expected, I received a warm welcome.
Special Investigator Johnny Dollar. So, what makes you special, Mr. Dollar?
Oh, come on, Lieutenant. It's nothing personal. If you were looking at $1 million hit, you'd want a few more eyeballs focused on the problem, too, wouldn't you? I'm licensed, I'm bonded, and I'm certainly not here to get in your way.
Well, see that you don't.
But Allied Indemnity is paying me to give it a second look, and I've got to give them something for their money.
Pay pretty good, do they?
I generally manage to make the rent.
Yeah, I bet you do. Well, you're not going to have much to milk here with this one, Mr. Dollar. Tell me, was it a long flight?
Hartford to Seattle? Yeah, about 11 hours. Why?
Well, because while you were moseying out here to lend us the benefit of your great expertise, we closed the case. The burglar is in custody. Sergeant Brannigan is bringing him in as we speak.
Oh, that's wonderful, Lieutenant. Great news.
Dolan. Hello? Brannigan? What? You got to be kidding me. Stay right there. I'm on my way down. Well, Dollar, it looks like I may have spoken too soon.
Oh?
Well, it may not be so wonderful after all. Come with me. Maybe we can get some use out of those expert eyeballs of yours.
We left Lieutenant Dolan's office, down 2 flights of stairs to the basement, then down a narrow hallway. The sign on the door said, "Booking."
All right, Brannigan, what's the problem here?
You got nothing. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, shut up, you. Hey, take a look there, Lieutenant. What do you see?
A Bible. Obviously the one stolen from Preston Walker's home.
Says you.
I told you to shut up. Pipe down or I'll clobber you. Yeah, it looks like the stolen Bible, all right. Just like the one in the photos we got from the insurance company.
Are you saying this isn't the same book?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Either way, it's not going to be the one you want. Who are you anyway?
My name's Dollar.
He's with the insurance company. What about the Bible?
Well, I know we weren't supposed to handle it any more than necessary, but I had to look.
That book is 500 years old. You could destroy it.
It's evidence, Lieutenant. I had to check it out.
Some evidence.
What's he talking about?
You think I stole a priceless first edition? Ha! Someone's a bigger crook than I could ever hope to be.
I told you to shut up.
Brannigan.
I'm afraid he's right, Lieutenant. See for yourself. Look here.
The pages are
blank.
It's a fake.
I'm sure it looked impressive in Walker's bookcase, but it's as phony as a sideshow fortune teller.
But I saw pictures of it open. They were printing on the pages.
Yeah, I've got copies of the same photos from Allied's file.
You see? I got nothing, so you got nothing. What's the sentence for stealing a fake?
Fake or no fake, burglary's a felony, mister. You do 10 to 20 either way, and I'll see to that.
The question is, who made the switch and when?
Who and when? That is the million-dollar question. If a real Gutenberg is missing, Allied is liable for the loss. But if they insured a fake... I'll check back with you later, Lieutenant. I've got a few more questions I'd like to ask Preston Walker. I drove back out to the Walker estate on Capitol Hill. I was about to knock on the door when...
Why, it's Mr. Walker. Dollar.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Walker.
Call me Sarah.
Sarah.
I was just working in the flower garden and saw you drive up.
I was hoping to speak with your husband. A few questions?
Of course. Well, I'm about ready for a break. Won't you come in, Mr. Dollar?
Johnny.
Would you like some lemonade, Johnny?
That would be nice.
Pardon us, Rex. We're just passing through.
Rex?
The dinosaur there. Hideous, isn't he?
Well, he is pretty imposing.
Some men are happy to collect coins or stamps. My husband collects everything, as long as it's expensive.
And nothing is too good.
For those who can afford it, yes, I know. In here. I suppose Preston is fond of Rex because they have so much in common.
Oh?
They're both bigger than life, imposing, as you say, cold-blooded predators. Well, there is one difference. Rex listens to me. We've had many a conversation, Rex and I. Rex doesn't say much, but he's a good listener.
I see.
So, Johnny, how goes the sleuthing?
Well, as I've said, I do have a few questions for your husband.
I'm afraid he isn't here right now. Some kind of problem at the printing plants.
Now, I guess I should have called ahead.
I'm glad you didn't. Glad to have the company.
I wouldn't think you'd want for company.
My husband doesn't allow it.
Doesn't?
Preston Walker doesn't share his possessions with anyone.
I see.
But if I can be of any help to you, any help at all?
Well, if you wouldn't mind answering a few questions.
I'll try.
Exactly where was the Gutenberg kept?
Oh, it was just on a shelf in Preston's library. Once he had it, he didn't treat it like anything special.
And it was taken in a burglary?
Yes, well, that certainly wasn't anything spectacular. Not like in the movies. They just jimmied a window.
Do you, by any chance, happen to know when was the last time the Bible was out?
You mean off the shelf?
Yes.
Well, as far as I know, it was never off the shelf once Preston put it up there.
And the photographs that were sent to the insurance company. Do you happen to know who took them?
A man Carl Ludlow knew. Biggerstaff is his name. Edmund Biggerstaff. He deals in rare books and antiquities.
Were they taken here?
Yes, right in the library. He must have taken 100. He said he wanted to document every detail.
Thanks, Mrs. Walker. You've been very helpful. Do you suppose there's a chance I can catch up with your husband at the printing plant?
I'll call and tell him you're coming.
I arrived at the printing plant at 1:45. Walker's assistant, Carl Ludlow, was waiting for me at the gate.
Mr. Walker asked me to escort you to his office, Mr. Dollar.
Thanks. This is quite an operation you have here.
Yes, it is. We publish half a dozen slicks here every month.
Slicks?
Refers to the paper. Cheap magazines are printed on pulp. Really true detective, astro stories, that kind of thing. We publish a higher class product for more sophisticated audiences. On slick, glossy paper.
I see. Nothing is too good.
For those who can afford it. Yes, I've heard that many, many times. So tell me, Mr. Dollar, were the police of any help to you? Did you speak with Detective Brannigan?
Yes, I met Brannigan, and he was very helpful. So helpful, in fact, he solved the case.
Solved it? Then you recovered the Gutenberg?
Not exactly. The police have the burglar in custody, but the Gutenberg, well, that's another matter.
How fortunate and unfortunate. Well, here we are. This is Mr. Walker's office.
Come in. Oh, Dollar. Come in. I can give you a couple of minutes, but that's all. You have some questions?
I'll get right to the point then, Mr. Walker. Do you recall when was the last time you had a close look at the missing Bible?
What do you mean? It sat right on my shelf. I had a close look at it every day.
Yes, but when was the last time you actually had it open?
Open? Why? Not since we had the photographs taken for the insurance. Why?
About those photographs. I'm a little curious. Being a magazine publisher, you probably have a number of staff photographers.
Of course.
But you didn't use any of them to photograph the Gutenberg.
No. Edmund Biggerstaff took them. He's the dealer who alerted me that it was coming up for auction. He did the insurance appraisal and took the photographs himself.
And you were present at the time?
Yes. So was Ludlow here.
Is there some problem with the photographs, Mr. Dollar?
No, nothing with the photographs. Did you see him put the book back on the shelf when he was finished?
He didn't put it back on the shelf. I did. What's this all about?
Well, the police arrested a man this morning for the burglary.
Really? Outstanding.
And they've recovered a book that looks exactly like your Gutenberg.
Looks like?
It's a fake.
That's impossible. Biggerstaff authenticated it.
I don't think the book the burglar took from your shelf was the same one that Biggerstaff authenticated.
What are you suggesting?
Somebody pulled a switcheroo, and it looks to me like an inside job.
How can you be so sure it's a fake?
Because all the pages are blank. Sitting on your shelf, you'd never know the difference, but it was never made to stand up to close inspection. That means the person who made the switch knew that the book wouldn't be scrutinized.
So, the police have only recovered a worthless prop.
That's about the size of it. What about this Edmund Biggerstaff?
He came highly recommended. He owns a bookstore and gallery over in the Queen Anne district.
I think I'd like to talk with him.
I'll get him your address.
You talk with him, Dollar, and check back with me this evening. I intend to get to the bottom of this.
Oh, we're on the same page, Mr. Walker. The very same page. I drove to the address Carl Ludlow gave me. It was a small storefront in the Queen Anne district. The front window had gold lettering, Regent Books, Curios, and Antiques. Edmund Biggerstaff, proprietor. Biggerstaff was a slight man in his mid-30s with thinning hair. Smartly but casually dressed, he was intently studying a document with a magnifying glass.
Oh, hello. Good afternoon, sir. How may I help you?
Mr. Biggerstaff?
Dr. Biggerstaff.
Dr. Biggerstaff.
PhD. Cambridge 47, you know. I would have completed my dissertation years earlier if it hadn't been for that ghastly war.
Ghastly.
Quite. Was there something I could do for you, Mr.
Dollar. Johnny Dollar. I'm an insurance investigator, Dr. Biggerstaff. I'm looking into a burglary a week ago at the Preston Walker estate.
The Gutenberg?
Yes. I believe you were the one who authenticated it.
Oh, quite so. It was a magnificent specimen. Most people would expect a 500-year-old volume to be fragile and crumbling to dust, but quite the contrary. The pages were all intact and in excellent condition. The binding hardly showed any signs of wear at all.
Almost as if it had been made only yesterday.
Exactly.
And you took the photographs for the insurance file?
Though I must confess, Mr. Dollar, I got somewhat carried away. I think I may have taken 100 or more pictures of that volume. I wanted to document and preserve every detail.
Now, you're absolutely certain that the book you photographed was authentic?
Sir, exactly what are you suggesting?
Nothing at all. Just wanted to establish that the book on Preston Walker's shelf was genuine.
The Gutenberg was absolutely genuine. I'd stake my professional reputation on it. And I watched Preston Walker himself place it back on the shelf.
Yes, of course. I guess Mr. Walker is quite a book lover, judging from his collection.
Yes, judging from his collection.
You don't sound convinced.
Mr. Walker is a world-renowned collector, Mr. Dollar, but he is a complete Philistine. The real book lover in that organization is named Carl Ludlow.
Ludlow?
Yes, if it wasn't for him, I don't think Preston Walker would know a Gutenberg Bible from last month's issue of Ellery Queen. But, Mr. Ludlow, there's a man who cherishes not only the words, but the craftsmanship of a fine old volume. It's a pity he doesn't have the means to afford them himself.
Well, not directly, at least.
Quite. But with Mr. Walker's wealth, he can own them all, vicariously.
Yeah, vicariously. Well, thanks, Doctor. You've been a big help.
Not at all.
I headed back to my hotel, but not before calling Sergeant Brannigan at police headquarters to invite him to join me for dinner and to ask a favor. That's expense item 16, a dime for the call, and item 17, $6.50 for a couple of T-bone medium rare at the Hotel Cafe.
It doesn't wash, Dollar. Ludlow's as clean as a whistle. He's never been in trouble with the law. No sign of any unusual debts. He's exactly what he appears to be. Studied business at Melton Community College with a minor in English literature. Took a summer internship with Walker's company and worked his way up to become his personal assistant.
Yeah, I know, but Biggerstaff was definitely pointing the finger straight at him.
Straight's not a word I'd use to describe Biggerstaff. Cambridge never heard of him. The British consulate has no record, and immigration's never heard of him either.
I see.
It looks like Biggerstaff's as big a phony as that Ersatz Bible.
Oh, you may be right. I thought from the beginning there was something not quite right about him. That accent. I've known French mimes who could do a better fake British accent.
Excuse me, are you Mr. Dollar?
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Dollar, there's a phone call for you. You can take it over there.
Thanks. If you'll excuse me for a minute, Sergeant, I'm expecting a call from Hartford.
Certainly.
This is Johnny Dollar. You have a call for me? Yes, thank you. Hello, Patsy.
Is that some kind of joke, Dollar?
Oh, Mr. Walker, I'm sorry. I was expecting another call.
Somebody may think I'm a patsy, but I can assure you that is not the case. I know who took my Gutenberg, Mr. Dollar, and how it was done. I'll lay it all out for you as soon as you can get over here.
We're in luck, Mr. Walker. I just happen to have Sergeant Brannigan right here with me. We're on our way. Since Brannigan was off duty and didn't have a squad car, we hopped into my rental and sped out to the Walker estate. As we turned into the driveway, we were nearly sideswiped by a green and white Buick Roadmaster driven by Carl Ludlow. When we got to the house, the door was open, so we went in. Hello?
Help! Help! Oh, somebody, please help me!
We rushed into Walker's library. The maid was hysterical.
Mr. Walker! Mr. Walker!
I'm sorry, miss. He can't hear you.
No, he couldn't hear anyone. He was slumped over the desk with a letter opener protruding from his back. Scattered on the desk and on the floor were a dozen or more antique books, all with blank pages just like the Gutenberg.
All right, Dollar. I'm afraid I'm going to have to take over now. This is a crime scene, and that makes it my investigation.
I understand, Sergeant. Is there anything I can do to help?
You can stay out of the way. Hello, this is Brannigan. I'm at the Preston Walker estate. Walker's dead. Send the homicide boys and a crime scene photographer. And get out an APB on Carl Ludlow. He's male, white, and he's wearing all kinds of...
An all-points bulletin for Carl Ludlow. It certainly appeared that he was our man, but Ludlow didn't strike me as the criminal type, and Brannigan said Ludlow's bona fides checked out. I wanted to look at another angle, the one Brannigan had been talking about back at the hotel, one Dr. Edmund Biggerstaff. The lights were still on inside when I arrived at the shop. Even with the shades pulled, I could see someone moving around inside. Open up, Biggerstaff. I know you're in there.
Why, Mr. Dollar, whatever is the commotion about?
You can drop the phony accent, Doc. Your counterfeit book scheme is blown wide open.
Phony? What in the world are you talking about? Mr. Dollar, have you been drinking?
I must confess, Mr. Dollar, I got a little carried away. I must have taken 100 pictures of that book. That's what you said, isn't it?
Well, yes, but what of it?
You took those pictures so you could make a convincing copy. Convincing enough to set on the shelf until somebody decided to open it. That's it, that is. I'm surprised you took that chance.
Chance? What chance?
You knew that Walker would probably never open that book again in his life. But Carl Ludlow loves books. You said so yourself. You should have known that he'd eventually find out about the switch.
But it wasn't Ludlow who found out about the switch, was it, Mr. Dollar?
Well, no. No, it wasn't. It was Beals, a two-bit burglar that neither of you counted on. That would mean that...
Carl and I were in it together. Excellent detective work. But can you prove it?
Yeah, once we give this place a toss, yeah, I think we can, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
A gun? Mr. Dollar, do you really think that's necessary?
Get your hands up. I'm taking you down to police headquarters.
No, sir, I don't think you are. Sarah, be a love, will you?
I'm not falling for that. I woke up, I don't know, maybe 2 hours later with a headache that felt like someone had shoved an ice pick in my eye. I called police headquarters and left a message for Brannigan suggesting an all-points bulletin for Biggerstaff and Mrs. Walker. Then, since I was out of leads and barely able to see straight, I made my way back to the hotel, washed down a couple of aspirins with a double shot of Cuddy, and threw myself into bed.
Mr. Dollar! Mr. Dollar!
I opened my eyes to the bright light of dawn and winced when I realized I still had a shard of that ice pick lodged somewhere in my head.
Johnny, please, open the door.
All right, I'm coming. Hang on. Mrs. Walker, well, I have to say I never expected to see you here.
You've got to help me, Johnny. You've got to help me explain.
After you lowered the boom on me last night, why in the world would I help you? You know there's an all-points bulletin out for your arrest.
I know, Johnny, but you've got to believe me. When I hit you over the head, I had no idea that Edmund had murdered Preston. I just panicked when you pulled out the gun.
Biggerstaff killed him? But I saw Carl Ludlow fleeing the scene.
Yes, Edmund arranged it that way. He played us all for chumps.
Well, maybe I'm still a little groggy, but I'm not following you.
Preston was an awful man and a terrible husband, the way he treated me, but he didn't deserve to be murdered either. I confess. I had an affair with Edmund Biggerstaff, but it was over a long time ago. And I had no idea that Edmund and Carl were involved in that fraud together. I only learned about that last night.
Biggerstaff and Ludlow were in it together?
Yes. Well, no, not at first. Yesterday evening, Edmund called me. He said he needed to see me. It was important. I couldn't help myself. I still had feelings for him. So I agreed to meet him at his shop.
but it was all just a trick to lure me away from the house. While I was on my way over there, he was on his way to kill Preston.
But why?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Carl Ludlow has an obsession with rare books, you see. He found Edmund somehow and hired him to pose as an expert to persuade Preston to buy the books that Carl wanted. Edmund fooled everybody.
Including you?
Edmund is so charming, sophisticated, and that accent.
Yeah, but he's no art expert.
Oh, but Edmund is an expert forger. He made copies of the books Preston bought to set on the shelves while Carl took the originals for himself.
That's pretty clever.
That's how it started, anyway. It was only a couple of books at first, but then Edmund came up with a plan of his own. He threatened to expose Carl if he didn't cooperate.
Cooperate how?
Edmund made counterfeits of books he could sell in the black market, no questions asked. Carl would make the switch. Edmund kept the profits. For his silence, Carl got to keep some of his precious first editions. But then the fake Gutenberg was stolen.
And the only way that their secret would stay a secret was if the burglar got away. But he didn't.
No. Preston knew that Carl was the only person with both access and a motive to make the switch. He confronted him, and Carl confessed everything.
And fingered Biggerstaff.
Yes, but after your visit to his shop yesterday, Edmund knew the scheme was about to unravel. He knew Carl would incriminate him.
So he lured you away so he could kill Walker and make it look like Ludlow did it.
He was going to make it look like they argued that Carl killed Preston and then committed suicide. But you saw Carl got away.
Where's Biggerstaff now?
He's probably halfway to Mexico by now. Edmund had a boat, a 35-foot cabin cruiser. We were on our way to the slip when he admitted to me what he'd done. I jumped out of the car at the next stoplight and just ran. I didn't know who else I could turn to, so I came here to ask for your help.
All right, Mrs. Walker, it sounds a little far-fetched to me, but you might be able to sell it to the police. I'll see that you get the opportunity. I'll escort you down to police headquarters, and Sergeant Brannigan can take it from there.
I don't know, Dollar. Her story's a little wacky, but it does fit with the facts as we know them. You and I both saw Carl Ludlow leaving the scene of the murder. He could have been running because he did it himself, but he could just as easily have been running because he didn't. And didn't want to get blamed.
And there were all those books with blank pages.
What you saw was just the tip of the iceberg. There are 37 phonies that we know of so far. We turned up a couple of the originals when we searched Ludlow's place. That fits with her story. But most of them are still unaccounted for.
Oh, ouch. Allied is going to love that.
Well, that's just the books. Who knows about the other stuff, the paintings, the sculptures, and whatnot?
Well, you didn't find any Van Goghs in Ludlow's apartment.
No. The only lead we've got is Ludlow's car. Turned up in a parking lot over in the Bemerton. But nobody's seen Ludlow since he nearly ran us over yesterday.
What about Biggerstaff's boat?
Gone, along with Biggerstaff. If that's even his name. We alerted the Coast Guard to be on the lookout, but that's about all we can do. We'll watch the airport, the train stations, what have you, but I got a feeling this one's headed for the cold case file.
And Mrs. Walker?
Well, we could charge her with assault for whacking you over the head, if you want to press charges.
No, not really.
Well, we can't corroborate her story, but we can't disprove it either. With Walker's money, she could afford to hire a whole room full of Philadelphia lawyers. I suppose it'll be up to the DA, but I expect he'll take the path of least resistance.
Who knows, Patsy? That may be the way it happened, or it may not. Carl Ludlow's body washed up on the beach a week later. I'll leave it for the police to sort out who killed who. As for the insurance, well, it looks like all those books Allied wrote policies on were the real deal at the time Preston Walker insured them. So unless you can prove that Sarah Walker was involved in the fraud, and I don't think you can, it looks like Allied is on the hook for several $1 million, all payable to Preston Walker's widow, one Sarah Walker, which makes my final expense account balance of $1,427.50 look like peanuts. I tell you what, Patsy, why don't you and your husband come over to my place on Saturday and I'll treat you to some nice fresh salmon, caught, grilled, and served up by yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Westfield State University's WSKB Radio and JP's Golden Age of Radio Live has presented yours truly, Johnny Dollar, the first edition matter. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, put your hands together for the Westfield State University Jazz Big Band.
Go ahead. And this is
On
JP
behalf of the Westfield
JP's
State
Golden Age of Radio, wrapping up one fun segment that we had a couple of years ago right here at Westfield State University. And we're going to be recreating that with new content, of course, but with the Westfield State University Jazz Band. And it'll be fun. It'll be more coming up on that with our own Michael Buster McMahon, and he'll have a few little short radio plays that we're going to do there, live on stage and recorded for later play here on WSKB. Hey, coming up in just a few minutes, just after 8 o'clock, our own Mark Auerbach will be here. Hi, good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Peter.
What do you got going on this morning?
Oh, we got a great show today. I'm kind of excited about it. We're going to be chatting with Sean Farley from the Fine Arts Center at UMass about some of the programs that are coming to Amherst this winter and spring. And in the second half of the program, we're going to be chatting about Barrington Stage Company's 10 by 10 new play festival with Matthew Penn, the director. And Matthew Penn is the television director, Emmy nominated, known for Law and Order and NYPD Blue and all of that. But he grew up in Stockbridge. He's the director of the Berkshire Playwrights Lab in Great Barrington, and he directs at Barrington Stage. So I'm really looking forward to chatting with both of these people starting at 8 o'clock.
I look forward to hearing about what's happening this summer out in the Berkshires. Every time I look at that more and more, I'm seeing things that, holy cow, look at the people that I never knew were in the Berkshires. Look at the shows that were never knew were in the Berkshires.
Tanglewood has just announced additional programs, and they're opening a center at Tanglewood that will be year-round. So it'll be interesting to know if Tanglewood programs music during, quote, the off-season. And the summer seasons, Shakespeare and Company has announced its season, and Chester, but Berkshire Theater Group has not announced theirs yet, and Barrington Stage announces theirs next week. So, it's like I can't wait. and a
late Christmas for you.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you realize that it is 15 weeks until Memorial Day weekend.
Just around the corner.
Just around the corner. So maybe we only have one or two weather events that include snow between now and then.
Here's hoping.
There's the real truth coming out. He just can't wait for winter to end.
Please make it go away.
Well, we appreciate it. We look forward to listening after 8 o'clock to that, Mark. If you're looking for things to do this weekend, there's actually a lot going on. Of course, the Farmers Market, the last winter market at Church of the Atonement on Court Street will be indoors. So make sure you come check that out. And there's not only the farmers and their wares that they're bringing out for the winter, but also lots of crafters this time of year. And in speaking with Peter Langmore, who's one of the organizers of that event, last week we had him on the radio, we heard a lot about those crafters and sounded like a lot of things that might be a fun gift for Valentine's Day. Lots going on there. Also this weekend, don't forget the brand new and exciting silent disco. Yeah, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? It is. Because you're going to go into a room with all the lights you'd expect in a disco, all the excitement, just not the music. And you're going, how does that work? Then you realize everyone has headphones on. 3 live DJs, all in the same room. You'll have 3 programs you can choose from, and you'll be able to have a lot of fun with that. I think this is something that I'm going to be part of, and it's going to be a regular thing we're going to do in town if we get a good crowd for this. All to benefit the Amelia Park Children's Museum. Check that out at the Shortstop, and tickets are available at Eventbrite. Just search on Silent Disco, Westfield, Massachusetts. Other things coming up in April is going to be a benefit for the Westfield Police Auxiliary. That's going to be a Chicago tribute band, Chicago Total Access, coming to the Westfield Technical Academy. April 12th, tickets are available on purplepass.com. It's going to be a great, great spring. Lots of entertainment coming your way. This is J. Pagluca. along with Pete Coles on the other side of the board, as he always is, every week. Wishing you a wonderful weekend. Get out, see some live music. Have a great weekend, everyone.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB.